Well, Uma, good morning.
Good morning.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning. We should tell everybody. So, what a nice way to start the day, looking at your pretty fresh face.
Thank you.
Uma, I don't know that I've ever heard that name before. Is it a family name?
Yes.
Uma.
Yes.
It was the last name rather than a first
No,
name.
it's my first name. Actually, really a common name, but not in this country. So people have a hard time with it.
What is the origin?
It's got a lot of origins. Primarily, I suppose, Indian.
Uh-huh.
There's an Indian newscaster in Boston named Uma. So there's one other person around I know who's being asked the same question as me every day.
Well, let's talk about your role in Dangerous Liasons. First of all, let me tell you, I think this is the most wonderful period film I've seen since Amadeus. It's really a wonderful film. And everyone in it, yourself included, just gives a dynamite performance. Let me ask you about the role of Cecile. Did it come the usual way, agents sending you to casting director?
Yeah. Actually, I knew the casting directors from other things, and agents sent me this script, and it's a beautiful script. I mean, I've read a lot of scripts in the past year, and as you put quotes around the word period, it's one of the most, it was the most wonderful story, period, that I had seen. So I was there.
Did you know it from the stage play at all?
No, actually, it was a new taste for me.
And your character on stage was played by whom? Do you know?
Played by many people. This is a production that's been put on all over the world. This has been a production that's been received in Japan and England and Sweden, and I mean, it's been everywhere. So there was more than one.
Do you think your character was different on the stage than she is in the film?
Well, actually, Christopher Hampton said to me that Christopher, who wrote both of them, he said that it had been played on stage by someone who was far older than the character is meant to be. The character is younger than I, but it's always been played by someone 25 or 26, which has made it kind of naff, the kind of spoof young youth, so on. And so he said having it be someone nearer that age range brought more of a reality to it, or closer believability to it that wasn't there.
You're 18 now?
Yes.
And you have done 4 films?
Yes.
Would you just give us a brief rundown of what the films you did and the characters?
When I was 16 and I was going to acting class and I started auditioning, I did an independent New York film called Kiss Daddy Goodnight that played in art houses for about 5 minutes. And I played some young girl that kind of used to put on wigs and go out, and when men would pick her up, she would go home with them and drop them a Mickey and rip them off.
Sweet kid.
Sweet kid, real, you gotta love her. And then I did a movie called Johnny Be Good, where the role wasn't that interesting. And then I did Baron Munchausen, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, directed by Terry Gilliam, that's coming out this spring, where I play a young actress in the theater named Rose, who's kind of a Cinderella character, who later blossoms into a goddess. And then Liaison. Liaison has really been the most interesting dramatic role I've had, the very best.
Who else is in the Terry Gilliam movie?
It's a large ensemble cast. Robin Williams, Oliver Reed, John Neville is the star, and he's wonderful. Eric Idle, the Pythons, some of the Pythons. And it's very full. Jonathan Pryce. It's a long list, really.
And we'll see that when?
Easter.
So the name of Uma Thurman is going to be very well known, I think.
Well, if anyone can pronounce it better after my films come out, it would be a treat. Someone asked me once, will I be an actress? And I thought, well, gee, maybe someone will start to spell my name correctly.
How else would you spell it?
Oh, you wouldn't believe the variations that have lived and died.
Maybe Yuma, for Yuma, Arizona, I don't know.
Yuma Sumac.
Oh, yes, of course, of course. Were you at all nervous about taking this role, Uma?
Well, yes, because it was the most challenging and the most dramatically interesting, and really the hottest thing I've ever tried to do. And so, of course, I was nervous. I was, my heels were in the sand as I was getting on the plane.
When you read for it, did you eventually get to read with someone else in the cast,
I
or
only read for it once, and I read with John Malkovich.
which scene?
Which scene? The scene... Which one did I do? I read the scene where he gives me lessons in love with him.
The seduction scene?
No,
No.
another scene. The scene afterwards.
Did the seduction scene make you nervous when you had to shoot that?
Not really, because once you go to do something, you just have to commit. You know, you have to simply action, move, don't stop. What did make me nervous was the transition scene, explaining how this young child goes from being actually kind of nastily seduced into becoming a complete nymphomaniac. Explaining how that could happen without discrediting either experience was challenging, and that really had to be done in my scene with Glenn Close after I've been abused.
What was it like working with Malkovich?
It was the best. I've never enjoyed acting so much as I did opposite him. He is so free and so generous and so conscientious and helpful, just as a being. I mean, he's really not stuck in his own world and you're just out there to flail about and, you know, try to isolate yourself as much to survive. No, he's very communal and very, very helpful and wonderful.
Well, Uma, I'll say again, I just love the film. It's a really beautiful, wonderfully acted and performed.
You can't help but to love it.
Yes, exactly.
It's the best.
And it's been nice talking with you, and I'm sure I'll be talking with you again sometime down the road.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.